Good afternoon, everybody. It's Karen here, coming to you from my craft room, and I'm looking out over my backyard, which the snow is almost completely gone and signs of spring are starting to happen. And it's actually, I think right now in the 70s here in Massachusetts. So my craft room gets a little warm. So I'm getting used to it from being very cold from the winter. But what I'm here today to show you is how to make this woven Easter treat basket. The basket measures, the base of it is 2.5 by 2.5. The sides are about 3 inches tall. And then our handle, we're at about 6.5 inches in total dimensions. So I had so much fun making this using the In Full Bloom paper and then the Some Bunny Loves You stamp set and thin cuts. But let's get started. I'm going to show you how to do this. And there will be a blog post on this with a downloadable PDF of instructions. And I'll link that to this video when I get it posted. But I wanted to walk you through this today. All right, let's get going. So, supplies. What you're going to need is you're going to need one piece of 12 by 12 double-sided paper. You're actually not going to use the full piece, so you could actually get multiple baskets out of this. You'll need one sheet of cardstock. A good heavyweight cardstock will work. You're going to need your 12-inch trimmer, and if you have a scoring blade with it, that's awesome. If you don't have a scoring blade, then you're going to need a scoring platform. So that's what you'll need. You're going to need a bone folder. You're going to need your scissors. You're going to also need just regular adhesive tape, but you're also going to need a good strong adhesive tape such as this from Close to My Heart. And I did my embellishing on mine using this stamp set and thin cuts, the Some Bunny Loves You. And I love this set. It's so adorable. There's so many uses for it, and I'm going to be planning on doing some Easter cards soon with it, and I can't wait to show you that. And some intense black ink, and then some of our tri-blend markers to color the pieces in. So, get started. What you're going to be doing, first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut your card. Let's get your papers cut. We're going to cut 8.5 by 8.5 inches square from your cardstock. This will be your basket bottom. And then from the remaining piece, I'm going to cut a 3/4 inch wide by 12-inch long strip. That's going to be your handle. And then I'm going to set this aside for a minute while I cut my pattern paper. Take my zip strip off the top, set that aside for another day. And then what I'm going to do first, I'm going to use, since I'm planning on using this side for my basket trim, I'm going to cut a 3/4 inch by 12-inch piece of that pattern. And then I'm going to cut 5 1/2 inch tall strips from the other side. Cut 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm going to change out my blade from my cutting blade to my scoring blade. And first thing I'm going to do, oops, get this blade in here, doesn't want to function today, is my trim strip. So on the back side of it, I am going to score it down the middle, and then just fold along the score line and set this aside. Then my 8.5 by 8.5 by 8.5 cardstock, I am going to score this all the way around at 3 inches. So what this is going to give me, so I have a 2.5 inch square in the center, and then my tabs. I'm going to cut away my tabs on all sides. And I saved this paper because you can use it for tags, whatever. I actually did use it in mine to add a little bit of reinforcement to the bottom of my basket. I tend to like to do that with most of my paper crafting projects. I like to add a reinforcing layer of paper just to give it a little bit more strength. It depends on how much weight you're going to put in it. I'm planning on putting some like Easter grass and Easter candies in it. Of course, you guys know who know me, who follow my videos, know that most of my paper crafting projects go into my co-workers at work, and I think I've spoiled them over the years that I've been there and giving them fun little treat baskets, handmade treat baskets each holiday, and I think they kind of now expect it. So I end up with this cross-like piece. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut from the sides in all around, not cutting through the base, every 1/2 inch. So what I do here, start at 2. I'm going to cut in, lift my blade up at 5.5, back down at 3, and out. So this is what you're going to do all the way around. I already started it on this piece. So as you see, I've done it on 2 of the sides. Now I'm just going to complete the other side. So you just want to make sure you stop at your score lines for your base. If you don't have a trimmer like this that you can do that kind of lift up and you're concerned about it, what I would recommend is taking a pencil and a ruler, of course on the back side of your cardstock that you're going to be working with, and just draw pencil lines every 1/2 inch to the base, and then you can just cut with your scissors along. So now what we have is this. So now I'm going to fold these in. One thing with this basket is you can put it together your own way. You could make the rows of the basket thicker. I did mine all at 1/2 inch, so I'm 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. I'm pretty a little bit kind of meticulous that way, and I did mine also to put them together so they're basically jutted up against each other. But you could leave a gap if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. I'm sure there's many variations. And so now that I've got these folded up, now what I'm going to do is I am going to work on my rows. The first row probably is the most important row. So on all of these pieces of paper, what I did is I folded over about a 1/2 inch on one end, just to kind of start myself. Then I took some of this strong sticky tape, and the fun thing about this is the fact that the covers tend to stick to they're very staticky. And if you don't have fingernails, you can always use tweezers to pull off the top. So we always are going to start a row from behind. So the first row is going to be your most important row, because you're going to want this. This is going to really help give your stability to it. So this is going to want to be as close to the edge as possible and as tight as possible. So I'm going to start this behind. So my first piece, I take that 1/2 inch I folded over and that adhesive tape, and I go behind. So now I'm going to rotate this. I'm going in a clockwise manner. So I'm going to go over, under, over, under. And then one thing I found that I do, especially with the first row, to give it a little bit more stability, I'm going to take my adhesive tape and I'm going to run a little bit of adhesive on the outer piece and adhere it, just to give it so that I know that it's kind of in place and it's not going to be wobbling around. So I'm going to do this on all sides. So as I get to a corner, I kind of adhere it a little bit. Fold it a little bit just so that I can get a decent crease. I did not score these ahead of time from the standpoint of, it was a little tough to figure out the scoring. So when I do this adhesive, I find it's best if I just lay it down on my work surface. And then each piece I'm going to bring up and adhere. It just gives me a good solid base. Once you get past the first row, it goes a lot faster, and you don't have to adhere all of the outside pieces. So just, kind of work with, how you feel, what you're comfortable with doing. So again, I'm almost around. I'm going to work my way through one row, but the process basically repeats the same for the other row. So you're going to end up with 5 rows of your pattern paper, and you could do something where you could do different patterns. Like I could have probably done alternating rows with the diagonal pattern and with this floral pattern. That would be kind of cute. You could use different papers. Really, it doesn't matter. You could have this always be cardstock. Now, I'm coming around to my end. I'm going to put another little piece of my sticky tape at the very end, and I'll show you why for that. That's going to basically help adhere it in the back. So I'm going to fold that last piece behind, and I'm going to just take my cover off of that. So now I'm getting around under, and your last piece, if you've worked this correctly, will go behind. So now I'm just taking my last row. I'm bringing it, sorry if I get off camera a bit, bringing it down, and then this piece in the back, try to get this in so you can see this. It's in the back, and now I've adhered it behind the first row. And I'm going to just kind of tighten this up. So there we go. So basically, that's how each row will work. You're always going to start where you're going to be able to put it behind. So my next row would start here and then coming up from that. So this is what you're going to do each layer as you go. And then once you've worked your way up, this is what you will see. What I did, and I'm going to do here, is I trim this top. Get these little pieces off. And I just cut the pieces off the top. And as you're putting your rows in, you can make sure that, kind of push down to make sure it's tight against the row, below it. But this is what I've got. Now, my piece that my trim piece that I folded in half, I put the sticky tape on the back, 2 rows of sticky tape, 1 on each side of the fold. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the front, take that long sticky strip off, and I'm going to work my way around. So I'm going to start a little bit past one corner just so that I can tuck it, and you're just going to kind of fold it around. I'll put it down on the desk and adhere it. And just kind of roll it, give it a little bit of a crease, roll it, crease, roll it, and then just get this line up a little bit better for my last piece. There's my, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this backing off of the top piece of sticky tape. Come on, this stuff is so staticky. Here we go. Just get that off of there. There we go. But what you want to do before you would push this around is I clipped down to the 4 line in each corner. It just gives it a nicer corner look to it. Now you can take, oops, I missed one. Okay, can't forget that. Now you can take and fold in on the back side the other part of your trim piece. And there is your basic basket that's completed. And then last thing before we decorate it, I'm going to take a couple more pieces of my sticky tape on the outside of my, this is going to get attached to the back, inside of the basket. backing off. And luckily I have nails. They seem to be working today. Yep. Let's get this and this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on the inside, adhere it, loop this around, and on the other side, and adhere it. And there's my basket. And I've got my cute little bunny and little chick. And then I made a little tag out of some scrap white paper and stamped my sentiment on it, and then attach it with a glue dot to the top. And there's my basket. So, like I said, I'm going to probably put some Easter grass in this and some candy. And this is what I'm planning on giving to my co-workers for Easter. And I hope you guys liked this tutorial. And look for the link to the blog post so that you can get the downloadable PDF of instructions. And thank you for joining me. And I hope to see you again when I'm up in my craft room doing some paper crafting. Bye now.